today I'm going to make my video about the haunted famous doll known as Annabelle. Hey guys, it's Brittany, and in today's video I am super excited about this video because it's all about the Annabelle movie. Oh my god, you guys. Hey guys, it's Brittany, and can you guess who I am today? Yes, I am Annabelle. Woo! Hey guys, it's Brittany, and I'm so excited because this video is all about Annabelle. So I decided to bring my friend Annabelle, my Annabelle doll. It's in the Warrens museum they have in Connecticut. They have the doll locked up so it can't get out, and people can come to the museum and go look at the doll. It's one of my goals in life. I definitely want to go to that museum and look at the doll. I think that'd be so cool just to go up to it and be like, oh my god, that is Annabelle. So cool just to go up to it and be like, oh my god, that is Annabelle. Oh my god, that is Annabelle. Hi Annabelle. Brittany, and welcome to part 2 of my whole Annabelle Comes Home, the Warren Occult Museum experience, sponsored by Warner Brothers. Thank you so much to Warner Brothers. Honestly, guys, if it wasn't for Warner Brothers, clearly, I would not be living my dream of meeting Annabelle. This is just, I still am so giddy about it. I'm on cloud 9 just thinking about it. So thank you so much, Warner Brothers, for sponsoring this trip and for sending me to Connecticut. An absolute dream come true. Literally, I'll be thanking them for the rest of my life. But guys, if you have not seen my first part to this, it's kind of like a little mini series, just like a 2-parter, but definitely check out part 1. You'll see my whole day. It's called 24 Hours in Monroe, Connecticut, and then in brackets, the Warren Occult Museum. But if you watch that one first, then you will see everything that happened before meeting Annabelle. So going to the Union Cemetery, meeting the real Annabelle doll from the movie, going to the Annabelle screening. The movie was amazing, by the way. Obsessed. I cannot wait for it to come out. You guys are going to love it. But anyways, guys, here we go. My whole experience at the Warren Occult Museum. I know you're gonna enjoy it. Ugh, I'm so excited for you guys to watch. I filmed Tony. He's explaining everything in the artifact room, so enjoy. It's gonna be a long video, but it's worth it. I know that a lot of you guys have been wanting to go to this museum, and now you got a personal tour from yours truly. But with Tony obviously explaining everything, and of course Annabelle, the shadow doll, is in there as well, so I hope that you guys enjoy.
One sign, and before I do a blessing, I will be anointing your head with the cross, so if you don't want that, please let me know. It's preferred. Before you guys also go into this location, remember, it is laws of attention, laws of attraction. Go in there with a respectful mind, power of God, your aura, like Tony had talked about, and just think of white, pure light, because you don't want to go there with the wrong intention and the wrong attraction. You never know what you're messing with. Alright guys? So I'm going to say 2 prayers and then I'm going to anoint your forehead. Can I get some light, please? Thank you. We ask that the light of God's presence to surround us as a shield. We ask the blood of Jesus to cover us and defend us against the attacks of all evil spirits. We ask the holy angels to be with us and join us in our battle against the power of darkness. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of my womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Objects that Ed has collected over the decades, he and Lorraine, by going on various cases, by being involved in police investigations where satanic rituals and black witchcraft rituals took place. Most of these objects that you see in here are unholy objects. They're unblessed, even though we have a priest come in monthly. So let's start out with perhaps one of the scarier looking objects. This is a shadow doll. Now, by looking at this object, you would say, why would anybody want an object like that? Well, I wonder myself. But the thing is, it's made with bird feathers, human tooth, animal bone, and must be paper mache to put it together. But it's an ugly looking object, and it's made for that intention, is to scare and to curse. It's made to curse other people. So Someone who's very knowledgeable in witchcraft and sorcery would use this against an unsuspecting victim. For instance, say you are fooling around with my girlfriend and I don't like you anymore and I want harm to come to you, and I'm a black magician or I'm a sorcerer. I would take a photograph of this ugly looking doll, print out the photo. On the back of the photo I would write out a curse, a special curse just for you, and I would mail it to you. And just by you accepting the envelope, pulling out the picture, not even knowing what it is, you accepted the curse that I gave it. You accepted it. And the problem is with you is I want you to get sick or die. And that's what a curse is. A curse is to cause harm to others. This doll is meant specifically, it's called a shadow doll. And it can also come to you in a nightmare and stop your heart. So you can look at it all you want. You can take pictures of it all you want, because you don't know anything about the curse that goes with it, how to instill that curse. You have to be very knowledgeable. That's intentionally made to curse other people. It's similar to a voodoo doll, which we also have in here. This here is a New England witch doll, and they also call it Mayariah witchcraft. And what it is, if I take this off here, all it is like a piece of wood that someone would use. For instance, that you sit at a table, I might take a piece of the wooden table or the chair that you use all the time and incorporate it into this hanging noose. Then I would make a close I can replica of the doll of you, the person I want to curse. Then I would take a piece of pork, fresh pork, and place it around the neck here. And then I would take this whole thing and hang it close to your bedroom window, say on a bush or on a tree. And as the pork rotted, you would become sicker and sicker, with the ultimate goal of you dying. That's what curses are about, to hurt other people. So this is Mayariah magic, or New England witchcraft doll. Over here we have a simple looking plastic prehistoric monster, right? This creature was in a famous case that Ed Moraine investigated back in 1980 called the Devil in Connecticut case, or the Devil Made Me Do It case. And what that case was a young boy by the name of David Galazzo from Brookfield, Connecticut, was possessed by a diabolical entity. And this thing that he made himself, he glued it all together. And as he put it down on the floor one day, and the Warrens saw this, Ed and Lorraine both, it glided across the carpet, and a voice came from around it and said, "You are all going to die." It's a very famous case. You could read it. You could probably find the book on eBay called The Devil in Connecticut by Gerald Brittle. But it's as told to the Warrens, as the Warrens told it to Gerald Brittle. The entire story of Arnie Johnson and David Glatzel. And what happened ultimately and ended in a murder of a young man by Arnie Johnson. And the claim was that the devil made him do it. The devil went into him and made him do it. Very famous case. This one here, this is a satanic idol. This is a ritualistic object that was found in the woods in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Now, I don't know where you guys are from, but Sandy Hook was famous for one thing and one thing only, and that was the murder of 20 young elementary school children back about 5 years ago in December of 2014, where a young man named Adam Lanza walked into an elementary school with an AR-15 and killed 20 kids and 6 teachers, and himself and his mother. So that was only about 8 miles down the road. But this idol was found in the Sandy Hook section way before that happened. About 1990 this happened, where a young deer hunter was walking through the woods in Sandy Hook. He had a bow and arrow. He's about 22 years old, but the statue was sitting in the woods. This young deer hunter is looking for deer with a bow and arrow. All of a sudden he comes upon this grotto of rocks, a round stone gravel grotto with rocks built up just in the center, so it was sitting like that high. He comes upon it, he's lost. Now he looks and he sees it, and he instantly becomes perturbed and disturbed by this thing. He sits down in front of it, exhausted. He says to himself, "What is this thing? I don't know what this thing is, but it's bad. I don't like it." So what did he do? He stands up, he starts to walk away as quickly as he can away from it. As he's walking down the pathway, lost, hoping to find his way out to his car in the street, somebody appears next to him out of nowhere. I'm talking about the dead of summer, dead quiet. All of a sudden, there's nobody there. All of a sudden, there's a guy standing right next to him, walking step for step with him, step for step like a soldier. And he was dressed all in black from head to toe. He had a white, snow white, short cropped beard, snow white hair, combed back. He was about 70 years old. The man never spoke, never looked at this young man. Now the kid's freaked out when he sees this guy walking with him. He doesn't know what to do. Finally, he musters up the courage. He looks at the guy. He says, "How do I get out of here? How do I leave here?" And the guy never spoke. The guy never looked at him. He just pointed. He was walking like this. He went, pointed to the right, and stepped off to the right. And this guy, now he starts to pick up his pace. And he finds his car. He rushes home, calls his friends, and he describes what happened. They said, "Why don't you call Ed Warren? He knows about this stuff. He lives right down in Monroe, next town over." He calls up Ed, as was listed in the phone book. Calls up Ed, and Ed says, "You think that you could find this statue again?" The kid says, "Yeah, I think I can show it to you. Meet me on this road here." So Ed went with Lorraine and met this guy on the roadway. They walked in. Sure enough, they found it. And Ed looked at it, took one look, and he said, "I know exactly what you're looking at, son. That's nothing that should be in the woods. That's a satanic worship idol. And the guy that you just described to me, he's a high priest in a satanic cult. This doesn't belong in the woods." And Ed took it, put it in the back seat of his car with Lorraine, and drove it back home, and put it here. Now, you think that was the end of the story, right? Nothing happened, but something did happen. For about 2 days, Ed had it sitting right here. For about 2 days, nothing happened. And on the third day, Ed was outside trying to fix the wipers on his car, trying to replace them. He looks back about 25 feet. He sees Lorraine. She's watering some flowers with a hose. And Lorraine was the kind of person that every time she saw Ed, she'd say, "Hi, honey." She'd look at him, she goes, "Hi, honey, hi," like that. So he says hi. He goes back to his wipers. And he looks back up not even a minute later, he looks back up and he sees her lying on the ground in a fetal position, semi-conscious. He drops everything. He runs like a gazelle, gets to her. He says, Lorraine, wake up, what's the matter?" She doesn't answer. He calls an ambulance and the police department. They came out within about 3 minutes. They put her in the ambulance. She's still incoherent. Get her to St. Vincent's Hospital. For 3 days, she was in and out of consciousness. The doctors did brain scans, MRIs, you name it, they did it. Ed says, "What's the matter with my wife?" They said, "You know something, Mr. Warren? We don't know. We can't find anything abnormal." But I went to see her on the next day that she was there, and she was incoherent. She couldn't answer questions. She couldn't even say hi to me. It was like somebody hit her with a club in the side of her head, and she had the flu. But on the third day, miraculously, she snapped right out of it. Now, when I say snap right out of it, she was perfectly normal. And the doctor said, "Well, you can go home." And she did. She went home that evening. About 2 or 3 days later, I remember walking through the museum, and I visited Lorraine. She was fine. I said, "Ed, can we go out to the museum and look around again?" So we went to the museum. And I said, "Hey, Ed, you ever find out what happened to Lorraine? What the story was with her? What did the doctors say? What happened?" He said, "They never told me. They told me that they couldn't find anything wrong." He said, "But I know what happened." I said, "Well, what happened?" He goes, he said, "That GD son of a gun, he did that to my wife." I go, "Who?" He goes, "That high priest." He goes, "When he described that guy to me, I knew exactly who he was." Over here is a conjuring mirror. Now, you guys know the movie The Conjuring? It wasn't from The Conjuring. This is called a conjuring mirror. Why is it called a conjuring mirror? Because a gentleman from New Jersey tried to conjure spirits with it. What he would do is he would black out his whole bedroom. You could do the same thing. It's called a psychomanthium. You could look that up, psychomanthium. It was made famous by Dr. Raymond Moody. But what you do is you black out the room totally, so you cannot even see your hand in front of your face. You hang a mirror up. It could be any size mirror, but this is just a regular mirror. Then he would put a chair about 3 feet away. And then about 2 feet behind the chair, he would put a little red bulb like this. Maybe a 15-watt bulb, so you could just about see the mirror. And then he would begin his ritualistic conjuring. And it's a very simple process what he did. All he would do is beckon spirits that he knew that had died, like his grandmother, his grandfather, his uncle. He was saying, Grandpa, Grandpa, I miss you so much. Can't you just show yourself to me? Can't you just show yourself to me? He was kind of dingy, this guy. He did it for 3 hours a day for about 2 weeks. Nothing happened. But after that second week, he started to have monstrosities appear on the mirror. Monstrosity faces would appear on the mirror, which actually drove this guy kind of crazy. He actually ended up being treated at a mental hospital. Now this object here, what is this, huh? This is the Annabelle, but this is the real deal. Now, in the movie, it was pretty darn close as far as what they did. Of course, the doll looked different because James Wan likes scary puppets. If you go on James Wan's Twitter page, it's #creepypuppet. He loves creepy puppets. But so, and he didn't want to have a problem with the trademark and the manufacturer of the Raggedy Ann doll, so he did it differently. But other than that, Ed put this devil sign here back in maybe 78, 79. He put it here. And Ed hand wrote this, and they duplicated it in the movie. He hand wrote, warning, positively do not open. Now Dan, who's standing right here, is my lead investigator, made this case special so if we had to transport the doll anywhere, we could do it safely. So tell him, Dan, what you did to build this case.
So this case is built by hand, everything on here. The stain that's used on this case, I use holy water, and I put it in the stain.
Holy water used.
Less holy water. And you see 3 crosses, one on top, on each side.
Each side is cross.
It's the sign of the Trinity. It's Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. On each side, I put a plaque of St. Michael on each side of the case.
The Archangel.
Inside the case, underneath the felt, I scribed the Lord's Prayer, plus the St. Michael prayer underneath the felt there. That all helps bind Annabelle to the case. So what we did is, Annabelle used to be in the original case that Ed had built over there. What I did over here was just mimic Ed's case, but put a little bit more to it to bind the doll.
Behind the felt, what do you got?
St. Michael prayer and the Lord's Prayer.
Written there, right in the felt, as an extra protection.
Right.
So, and then we have a priest come and bless the case. He uses holy oil and everything else on the case. That is to help bind the spirit inside this case. You know, people say, well, why don't you just get rid of the doll? Well, if we did, we're just getting rid of the vessel and not the evil within. You know, it's not the way to do it. You're just allowing evil to roam the world then. At least we have it captive here, at least we think we do. We're going to keep it here. The story of the doll, real quick. 1970, 2 nurses from Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. One of the nurses, Donna, received the doll as a gift from her mom because Donna liked dolls. She grew up liking dolls. Her mother gave her one. Donna was about 28. She gave her the doll, and Donna loved the doll. Put a little bracelet on her hand, in fact. And she used to treat it like a person almost. She used to bring it to the breakfast nook and talk to it while she was having her orange juice and her eggs. And then one morning, as she's talking to it and looking at the doll's 2 arms levitated onto the table and landed on a table just like this. And now Donna is like, what's going on? And the other nurse, who was the co-worker, roommate, said, you know what? The doll's trying to tell us something. I know a psychic. Why don't we go have a seance tonight and have the psychic come over and find out what she wants to tell us? And they did. That evening, they had a psychic come, friend. The psychic got to the house and they had a little seance. The psychic went into a trance. And during the trance, she says, I'm picking up the spirit of a young child who was killed outside this apartment complex in a motor vehicle accident. Her name was Annabelle, and she's about 6 or 7 years old. She's inside your doll. That's what she told the nurses. That wasn't true, but the nurses bought it, hook, line, and sinker. It wasn't true because God would not allow a human spirit like that to enter into inanimate objects like that. That's not how the universe works. He wouldn't allow it. But they bought it. So they really treated the doll like she was special. One day, she comes home from work and finds the doll is not on the couch like she left it, now it's in the bed. The next day she comes back, she purposely left the legs uncrossed. Comes back, the legs are crossed. One day she came home and found a piece of parchment paper underneath the bed, written in crayon. It said, "Help me." They didn't have any parchment paper in the house or crayons. Now one of the other nurses said, "Maybe the superintendent of the building is playing tricks on us. He's messing with our minds. He's coming in here." So they tried to tape the bottom of the doorway and do a few other little security measures to see if anybody was there while they were on their shift. They came home, nothing was touched. The tape wasn't broken from the bottom of the door or nothing. You walk in the house, the doll's in a different location. That concerned them. But what really concerned them the most was when Lou was sleeping on his couch, and at the end of the couch was Annabelle. He wakes up from a nightmare with a start, and he's sweaty, and he's going like this, and Donna says, "What's the matter, Lou?" He says, "I just had the worst nightmare." And she said, "What?" He said, "I just had a nightmare that doll was crawling up my leg, got to my neck, and started to strangle me to death." And he's shaking his head. And then he takes the doll by the two arms and throws it across the room and says, "That's just a Raggedy Ann doll, that can't hurt anybody." When he did that, 7 psychic wounds appeared on his chest and on his stomach. 4 on his chest, 3 on his stomach. Like somebody took a claw and ripped through his skin. You see the blood coming through. He's freaked out, Donna's freaked out, the roommate's freaked out. They don't know what to do. But they knew one thing: it wasn't a 6-year-old girl who did that. They called the Episcopal priest in Hartford, Connecticut, Father Nolan. He said, "I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. You better call Ed Warren. He knows all about that supernatural stuff." That's how he put it. Ed came over to the house after they contacted him with Lorraine, talked to the girls just like you saw in the movie, and Ed did say, "That doll doesn't belong here. I'm taking it back to my museum." And he did. But when he took it back then, he put it in a chair, like you saw in the movie. He put it in a chair, no case at the time, and he had a rope in front of it. I said, "Do not touch." Well, the problem was a priest came here, back in the 70s, before it was in the case, and he knew Lorraine very well, and he said, "Lorraine, can I come over and show you my new car? I just bought it last night. I'm very proud of it." She said, "Come on, Father, I'd like to see it." So the next day he came for lunch, Father Bill, and he shows them the new car, and then they sat down and had lunch. Lorraine gave him tea, and after that he looks at Ed, the priest, and he says, "Hey Ed, could I see that doll that I heard about put slashes on people?" Ed says, "Yeah, come on down to the museum, I'll show you." Comes down to the museum, shows the priest around some of the objects, then he gets to the doll, which was in the chair, and he starts to talk about it, and he gets to the point of Lou getting the slash marks on his chest and on his stomach, talking about the nightmare. The priest, almost like Lou did, grabbed the doll over the chair, grabbed the doll by the arms, threw it across the museum floor, and said, "God is more powerful than any devil or demon." And Ed didn't know what to do, because he couldn't stop the guy in time. He said, "Father, you shouldn't have never touched that doll because it's dangerous. Why'd you do that? I just got through telling you don't touch anything." And the priest was adamant. God is more powerful than any devil or demon. And Ed says, "You know something, Father? You're right. God is more powerful than any devil or demon, but no human is. No priest is. No man. Shouldn't have touched it." The priest didn't want to know. The priest was like, "I don't care." They go back upstairs. He says his goodbye to Lorraine. No problem, right? Well, he never made it back to the rectory. On the way back to his rectory on Interstate 84, he lost control of the car, went almost head-on into a tractor-trailer truck, and totaled the car, and he was injured. Now, he wasn't killed miraculously. That was a warning to the priest. About a week later, the priest calls up and says, he's crying on the phone to Ed. And Ed says, "What's the matter, Father? How can I help you?" And he says, "I should have listened to you, Ed. I should have listened to you. I shouldn't have touched that doll. The last thing I could recall was looking in the rearview mirror of that car. I saw the image of the doll, and I lost control of my car." So, that was number one. Number two was a young man came on a motorcycle with his girlfriend, about 20 years old, with a group of other college kids who came. Ed had about 12 people here. This is years ago. And he's talking about the doll, Ed. It was in a case at the time. Now, he got in a case, and Ed's talking about the doll, gets to the slash marks, and what happened. The same thing happened as what happened with Lou and the priest. He gets to about the slash mark part. This young man, kind of cocky, goes over the rope that was right here, and he starts banging on the glass, and he says, "If that doll could put slashes on anybody, do it to me right now." what did he do? He just challenged the unknown. He challenged the demonic realm, right? A bad thing to do. And he did it, nothing happened to him. It says, look, you and your girlfriend, get out of here. I can't have that in my museum. I got through just telling you not to touch anything, you did, get out. So they left, and they were smirking about it when they left. Well, that young man on the motorcycle never made it home. In fact, that young man was killed 3 hours later. And we know what happened because the girl that was on the bike, she didn't die. She said she was in the hospital for almost a year. She said the last thing I could recall was we were laughing and joking around about the doll when my boyfriend lost control of the bike, went right into a tree head on and was killed instantly. Now, was it the doll that did that? Was it the demonic that destroyed this guy's life? I can't say for sure. Could have been just an accident. But why would you challenge the demonic? Why would you challenge the unknown realm? Once you make that challenge, you know, you open the door. And once you open the door, it's not like your house door. You can't just close it. It can stay open. It's almost impossible to close the door once you open it to the unknown realm. And that's what we found out through all our years of investigation, that you don't open doors. Don't open them. Don't use a Ouija board. Don't go to a psychic. Don't challenge the demonic. Because later on, it doesn't have to come when you ask it. Remember, it's not your slave. It has the wisdom of the ages. And a demonic entity comes when it wants to come, not when you ask it to. It could come a month, a week, a year later. So if you want, that was the story of Annabelle. And how'd you like the movie, huh? Was the movie pretty good or what?
So
that should have been Annabelle 1.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
They should have just said Annabelle Comes Home.
I agree.
And that was it, because that was a great movie, right?
It was really good.
She was a special person. Probably more special than any other person I ever met in my life. And I'm not saying that because my mother-in-law, a lot of guys don't like their mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was a saint. And when I say that, I mean it. She was the best to everybody. She would always take the time to speak to people no matter how tired she was. Ed, on the other hand, would be leaving a lecture. He'd be like, come on, let's get up. Come on, just hurry up. We got to go get something to eat to Lorraine. And I'd be with Ed on his side. Yeah, let's go get a cheeseburger at the diner. And she'd stop in the middle of the aisle of a big auditorium and answer that question and wait until that person was totally satisfied. We'd be waiting in the car for 15 minutes. Ed'd be mad. And I'd be, come on, Ed, I'm starving. She'd be out there talking, and she'd be just as tired as us. But she had that extra compassion that we didn't have. I mean, all we could think about that time was eating. We gave our lecture. We gave you all the information you want to know. Goodbye. Not her. She wanted to stay back and answer those concerns to everybody. And when she asked somebody, how are you, dear? She meant it. When I say, how are you? I'm not even half listening to the answer. You could say, I don't know, I just got in a car accident. Hey, good for you. Yeah, I'm good. I keep walking, right? Not her. What happened? And she really wants to know.
You guys, this is so crazy. Like, what is my life right now? Tony's taken us around and been telling us about everything in here. It's so crazy. Just the fact that we saw the movie earlier and now we're here. There's Annabelle back there. Speak at thumbnail. It's the other dolls. It's It's a perfect replica. This is the real one though. I'm just talking about my replica that I have. This is amazing. Like, it's an honor to meet you, Annabelle. So guys, leave me your comments down below. When I was editing this video, I just, I was smiling. You guys know, Annabelle is just, I cannot believe that I met her. And like I said, I probably would have never met her if it wasn't for Warner Brothers. So once again, I'm thanking them so much. They have just made my life. Like, this has changed me. I'm so happy. I can't believe I met Annabelle. But you guys want to know how I felt prior to meeting her, while I was meeting her, and after meeting her. Did anything happen? Did the demon attach itself to me? No, but you guys know, for the whole day I was thinking, oh my god, tonight is the night that I'm meeting Annabelle. Ugh, and but I didn't want like the day to be over, because I knew after we meet Annabelle, it's all over. So I was really taking everything in, and I had so much fun. It was an absolute blast with everybody. Everybody was so freaking nice too, let me just say. And it's just so funny, like, all of us were so excited to meet Annabelle. So being with a group of people who were excited to meet her, I mean, of course there were people that were like nervous and stuff, which is very understandable. Like I said, I think a lot of people thought I was crazy. I remember after I met Annabelle, I was talking to Tony and I told him this was a huge dream come true for me, and I told him that I have my own replica of Annabelle that I film with. She's always sitting beside me in my videos, and he just kind of looked at me like I was crazy, but like I think he was kind of laughing though, like, oh my god, like, this girl is crazy, but in a good way. So I think he was really happy knowing that this was a huge dream of mine and something to cross off of my bucket list. So it was just so cool. So when I first walked in, the first thing that I saw was the shadow doll, and I was so excited about that. So I'm just so happy that Tony, I knew he was going to tell us stories and explain everything, so it was just so cool being there in person. But I saw Annabelle out of the corner of my eye. I knew we were going to be taking this route, going this way, kind of the long way to get to Annabelle, so she was like the finale. You know what's really interesting though? My group, we were talking about this after, was when Tony was talking about that story about that guy that came into the museum and he didn't believe in the Annabelle demon. He was taunting the demon and, challenging evil and saying, like, if you can do this, like, do it to me, you know what I mean? And like tapping on the glass, and then Ed Warren kicked him out of the museum, and then 3 hours later he died in a motorcycle accident. I mean, it's not, proven that it was Annabelle, but that is the theory, and it makes sense. I mean, who knows? But that's what a lot of people think. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. My whole group, we were saying, when Tony was telling that story, and you can even like go back in my video, the doll, like the Annabelle doll, just kind of looked like, just sitting there all like happy, like, yeah, I killed that guy. Like, almost like the doll was looking proud. I don't know, it was so weird. When you look into the eyes of that doll, there's nothing there. Now, obviously, when I look into my Raggedy Ann, my Annabelle doll, there looks like there's life there. I mean, I freaking love my doll, you guys know. But when you actually go like face to face with the real Annabelle, there's just nothing there. It's just dead eyes. And I think that is the most eerie part about just being face to face with Annabelle and just knowing the history and what this doll has done to people, you know what I mean? And you feel like the demon is listening to you, and you know what I mean? And I wanted to go right up to the glass and talk to Annabelle, and I told Annabelle that I have a replica, that I filmed with a replica, that it was an honor to meet Annabelle. Like, that is what I said. I guess some people might think I'm crazy for saying things like that, but I was excited to be there. I wasn't scared at all, and I've always been told, when you are facing evil, never show fear, and go in there and be confident. But obviously I wasn't covering up being scared. I mean, you guys know me, I am psychotic. I live for the paranormal. The paranormal is the love of my life, and Annabelle is just my absolute favorite haunted dolls. So I was so excited, and this sounds so weird to say, but I feel like Annabelle really liked me. Like, the demon really liked me. I know that sounds so weird, but it's because I was so excited to be there, and I feel like I've said excited so many times in this video, but I feel like the doll really liked me. Even if you look in my picture, it looks like the doll is like tilting its head and looking at the camera and smiling, which is really creepy, but I'm living and I love it so much. I never got a vibe like, you need to get out of here, or I hate you, or I'm going to kill you, or anything like that. But as I was talking to Annabelle, and if you watched my Instagram stories, I might even put clips in this video as well, like I went right up to the glass and I said, "Hi Annabelle," and you know what I mean? Obviously Annabelle didn't say anything back. I wish, but when that was happening, right after, I started getting really hot, really sweaty. And I know other people started getting hot too, so it might have just been like the museum, but like I was getting hot. And I don't know if it was because I was just filled with excitement. You know when you get really excited sometimes and you just get really hot and just, you know what I mean? So was it something to do with Annabelle? I don't know, but I was really hot. And then so after we met Annabelle and everything, we took pictures and, you know, filmed and everything. It was over. We went right back to the hotel and I had an awful headache. I was up until 4:30 in the morning because I had an awful headache. And I took Advil and it just wasn't really going away. So it was interesting just knowing that happened right after I left the museum. And you guys know when I go on investigations, you know, any haunted location, I'm always bringing Advil with me. I'm always making sure that I'm hydrated because I'm always scared I'm gonna get a headache, because the paranormal does mess with you and it can give you headaches. And obviously as an investigator, when I'm investigating, even though I wasn't investigating at the Occult Museum, which is a dream though, so like just putting it out there, maybe it will happen one day, but having a headache is the worst thing ever because you can't even concentrate. But this headache was so bad. It was getting to the point where I was feeling really nauseous. So I had a lot of water in my fridge, so I was drinking a lot of water and I had to get up really early in the morning. I left the hotel at, was it like 8:30 in the morning, I think? 8:30 I left the hotel and I went to sleep at 4:30. The headache though, it didn't get worse until I was in the hotel. So when I was in the shuttle coming back to the hotel, like it was there, it was, you know when you know a headache is about to get really bad, but when I went into my hotel room, that's when it got like really bad. So I don't know guys, but when I got back to the hotel room, I saw this little black pouch sitting on my bed. And since I had my headache, I wasn't even thinking about what was in it. I didn't upload it. I always confuse upload and open together. I don't know. I didn't open it until the next morning. So when I opened it, it was so freaking cute. It's a key. And it says, "Miss me?" Because you guys know how Annabelle leaves notes and stuff. So I just thought, you know, and then it says Annabelle, well, at Annabelle movie, and then hashtag Annabelle comes home. So this is just so freaking cute. You know what, I'm gonna give it to my Annabelle. But when I woke up at 8:30 that morning, my headache was gone. So I'm glad that I slept it off because traveling and having a headache is like the worst thing ever. And like, thank God the headache came at the end. I mean, if it wasn't paranormal, if it wasn't Annabelle, I'm glad that it came after everything was over. But just the timing going into the famous artifact room, you know, all this crazy unholy items that are in there along with Annabelle. So it makes sense why I would have a headache and why I would, you know, react that way. And then when I was, you know, sweaty and stuff, but other people were sweaty as well. But it was so weird because my group, we were all around Annabelle, and that's when we started to get sweaty, you know what I mean? And it wasn't so extremely hot in Connecticut that night, so because I had a jacket on, you guys can even see in my picture. So, but it wasn't cold, it was just, you know, you could just wear a light jacket, you know what I mean? So, but that was pretty much it, and it was one of the coolest, most exciting experiences of my life. You guys know, I'm just forever grateful, and for Warner Brothers for sending me there. So guys, that was my whole Annabelle Comes Home experience in Connecticut, and it was an absolute blast. Like I said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and the first video. I just can't thank Warner Brothers enough. Like, just thank you so much for sending me to Connecticut. It just meant the absolute world to me. And then meeting the doll from the movie, you know what I mean? Like, that was so cool as well. And, you know, watching those exorcisms and seeing the white lady footage, it was so interesting. And hearing more about Lorraine and Ed, and you know, it was just, and meeting Judy and Tony, like it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm just forever grateful. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I know you guys are so excited for me. I can't believe this happened. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I'm just like smiling all the time, you know? So, and I think my doll is excited for me that I finally got to meet the real one. So yeah, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I want to blow up my picture of me and Annabelle and just like frame it on a wall, you know what I mean? Like a huge picture. Maybe I should. And like put it behind me, but I want it to be like enormous, you know what I mean? Just blow it up on like a huge wall, you know? So thank you guys so much for watching. Hashtag team Brittany44, hashtag Boy Breath of Buns, hey! And I will see you guys, oh my god, I got hair in my face. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.